This podcast is brought to you by Primary Arms. Primary Arms seeks to provide the best shopping experience for everything firearms. With over 13,000 products from over 400 top brands, Primary Arms carries a complete selection of rifles, handguns, firearms parts, shooting gear, apparel, and more. Every order comes with a commitment to superior service, backed by fast shipping and an expert support team. Primary Arms, serving freedom since 2008. Find out more at frn.deals/PA. Welcome to the AR-15 podcast. This show is for you if you just bought your first rifle or if you've been building them for years. There is something we can all do to take our black rifles to the next level. My name is Nick Dooley, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Garth Over.
Hey, buddy. Nice to see you tonight. Nice to talk to the people about some ARs.
Yeah, how we doing tonight, bud?
Oh, not bad. Just been working away in the gun room today. Had a day off from farming for once, so trying to get things situated and cleaned up there. You know, my OCD is taking over, and I'm redoing a gun wall in my safe right now, trying to make it look nice and neat and span. And I have a very big OCD problem when it comes to guns. You know this. They can't touch. Don't do that.
Fair enough. Yes, I know that you have like a mild coronary anytime I open my safe.
A little bit, yes. Just, yeah. I don't know. You keep pulling guns out though. I mean, it's amazing. Like I still don't think I've seen every gun in your safe.
Maybe. I'm not sure.
We'll figure it out.
Yes, it's kind of a magical place, really.
It is.
So, have you done anything? I know you've done some fun stuff this week.
Well, yeah. Actually, we had a night shoot last night. We tried to do a evening shoot for our 3-gun, group or club as we call it, instead of doing the Sunday morning thing, and that was okay. We had 2 really fun stages of 20 rounds each. It was 10-round stage or 10 round stages in the single stage. So you'd shoot one, reset, shoot the other, and then go over and then shoot 10 and reset and shoot the other. So it was really 4 mini stages. It was kind of neat.
Right on. That definitely sounds fun. I had a full day of training today, and that's been like the excitement of my day. I went through and got recertified on CPR again, but honestly, the last time I was certified was like 20 some odd years ago.
Nice.
So a lot of things had, when I was officially certified, like I've had a lot of other medical certifications since then, but I actually did that. And that's one of those where we always talk about the importance of training.
Mm-hmm.
And even hitting something as simple as like a CPR class or a stop the bleed class.
Yep.
Any of those are super important and useful for skills to have, because you don't want to be if I knew what to do.
Yeah, those kind of skills are nice to have in the arsenal. So yes, when you actually see something, you're not the one panicking going, oh shoot, what do I do? I'll call 911. No, wait, I am the firefighter. I gotta do something.
Yep. And when you push through those things, it's like, even for me, where I've assisted and done other things, like I've done, I've had to do the Heimlich before. I've had to use a lot of those skills. Even if you've done it or have done it once, it's nice to have a refresher every now and then.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Because I was certified and I didn't keep it up because, life happened, and then it was always I need to get back and do that again, but never did because, reasons.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, on the department, we certify once a year. I mean, it's a 2-year thing, but it's skills you should refresh every year, I think. And maybe even a little bit more.
It's definitely not bad to do it, especially since, like the number of chest compressions to breaths and things like that change.
Yep.
But that's neither here nor there. I did that, and then also I had another training day, but today, instead of training soldiers, I I didn't have to. I got to help train some civilians at the facility I'm close to.
Cool.
They requested that myself and some of my colleagues come in to train this group of dignitaries that came through,
Mm.
and I can now mark training a like 55 to 60-year-old woman on operations of anti-tank missiles off of things I've done in my life. Because apparently I'm the rocket launcher guy.
Did you just walk up to one and be like, diplomatic immunity?
No, but I did. I may have said, it's never a war crime the first time. Yeah,
Nice.
to quote the fat electrician, and went through some of those things, and that's where you know I've been doing that and not having much else going on because, well, that's still on pause for me doing
Well, yeah.
very
Didn't you
much
make
fun
some
stuff.
purchases though today?
I bought some more magazines, yes, and some other random assortment of parts.
Was it
You
a
know,
sale on Magpul or?
it was there may have been a Magpul sale somewhere,
Okay.
and picked up some extra mags and just some other things that are kind of always handy to have around. Like some of it is one of the things I saw because they were absolutely dirt cheap was I picked up more dummy rounds.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Hmm. Well, I mean, that's something you should have. I mean, especially if well, I don't know that the system I sent you, if we actually need dummy rounds in those or not.
No, you don't. You don't need dummy
Okay.
rounds for that.
Okay.
The dummy rounds that I picked up are just they're a polymer 5.56 round that Magpul makes.
Yep.
So I would slip one into your mag at the
Yeah.
range, and then you would have click no bang and have to solve it.
Yep.
And they are a super awesome training tool.
Oh, they
And
are. Absolutely. That's actually the first thing that happened to me at the first stage yesterday. Jeff, Jeff.
yeah,
He goes, "Oh, you're running the 22, huh? That's a jam-o-matic. It's going to jam." I said, "Jeff, just keep your mouth shut. I don't want to hear it." Third shot in, stovepipe. I was like, "Come on." So I got him back though. His jam 7 times. So, and we were all razzing him about that. No, it's going to jam. Oh, it's not going to jam. It's not going to do it. Yep. 7 times. Counted him. It was fantastic.
yeah. So no, just picked up some more mags because, mags you can fix them. They are a consumable item in my eyes
Oh
sometimes,
yeah.
and
No,
I like to have a healthy stack of them around.
I need to get more. I should have maybe jumped in on that. I suppose it's still going, isn't it?
I could probably talk to a guy.
Okay. All right.
Yep. So nothing else going on. There was some rather large news that has come out since the last time we were on the air, and it's one of those things where it's news we have to talk about, but
Mhm.
on the same token, there is still a lot up in the air with this, and that is what a lot of outlets or other people have called a leaked ATF document or a proposed or however the paperwork came out about this that they're talking about a what did they call it, an amnesty period on SBRs for anything with or for pistol braces ostensibly.
Mhm.
And I watched a handful of videos on it and they talked about it, and I am by no means a legal expert. I do not have the letter in front of me, but the way it sounded was there would be a period of time where the government would forego the $200 tax stamp on a lot of these firearms that were, are legally pistols that they are changing their mind on the classification of and making them into SBRs.
Uh huh.
And then You would still have to fill out the Form 1 from what I understood of the conversations, but you just wouldn't get charged the $200.
Oh,
But
really?
it would still be a registered SBR, which means that you would have to file the appropriate paperwork to travel over state lines.
Yeah.
There are some places where they're not legal and things of that nature because it would no longer be a pistol. And that is another fine explanation of the government just changing their mind and making law out of thin air, which I think there's like rules about that. That you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah. They don't really care.
No, but before we go down that dark, depressing rabbit hole more, that is something that our listeners do need to keep an eye out and be cognizant of. When and if something more or bigger happens, we will talk about it. And just because there's so much that one needs to understand, because that has the potential to make like 20 million is the estimated number.
Yeah.
So 20 million people could like up to 20 million people could become felons overnight and not even know it.
Yeah. So that'd be woof. I mean, come on out. Come get them.
So since we talked about what's at the back end of an AR,
Yeah,
why don't we talk about what's hanging out front?
we should. Let's do that. That'd be fun.
So what we're talking about is we're going in opposite grand thumb order, and instead of going from tip to butt, today we're going to go from butt to tip. And then and with that, we're going to talk about muzzle devices.
Mm.
So there are a variety of muzzle devices. There are rifles that don't have them at all. There are, almost as many muzzle devices as there are manufacturers of rifles, because there are people who just make, random muzzle devices. There's people who don't run one at all. There's companies who have like 37 different versions of them.
Yeah.
So, Garth, what do you think and know about muzzle devices?
Honestly, not a lot. No, I mean, they all come with a standard, muzzle device of some sort on there, and I'm not sure if it's flash hiders, compensators. I mean, most of them are just flash hiders. Is really what I understand.
Yep. So there's the kind of standard, the baseline for most of the AR world would be considered the A2, what's commonly called the birdcage flash hider.
Yep.
And what that is it has a, little piece or a solid piece at the bottom, so it doesn't have any flash go exactly down, and then it is made to dissipate that cloud of burning gas that comes out, so your flash is not as noticeable.
Mm-hmm.
It still is. It doesn't hide it completely or anything like that, but
it's not a fireball either.
Yeah, generally.
So, yeah, I mean, depending on if you load your own stuff, and I know you do. So, but
I mean,
go ahead.
I was gonna say you can make it do that, but
yeah, you can. No, I'm actually more of the as our buddy Nathan likes to put it, I'm more of the Loudenser variety.
Yep. So when we get into this, like you already touched on some of the phraseology.
Yes.
If you
I
will.
use that gooder English.
Yes, the gooder English.
Yes.
But there's three main types that you'll see where you have. So we talked about flash hiders just briefly in passing, because that is kind of the standard, the A2 birdcage, and it's called that because it was first seen on the M16A2. Promise I'm not going to try and go down too many rabbit holes today.
It's okay. Just if you got nerd out.
Then the other one that's probably the most common. Well, I'm not sure which one of these two is more common. So you have compensators and you have muzzle brakes.
Yes.
And then you have like kind of a hybrid comp brake, which you'll see a lot as well. And then, you have another option, which is my favorite option, which is silencers.
Yes, and we promise won't make this a silencer show.
Yeah, I will try not to. So, when you talked about a loudencer,
Yes.
what you talked about is well, there's a couple different things that come out with those now. So there are things like some people talk about, or 'cause we're going to end up talking about linear compensators a lot.
Hmm.
And linear compensators, there are a couple different ways that those work. There's one like I think it's the blast can from that might be from Surefire. There's a handful of different ones, but some of them actually thread onto like a silencer threading around a muzzle breaker compensator, and then push everything forward from that. All of the whip machines.
Hmm.
There you go. The whip machine SME, which is not a NFA device.
Right here.
Oh,
Yeah, I was prepared for this.
oh. So that is what the concept behind what that is it projects the volume downrange, or the bulk of the noise away from the shooter's ear, but does not actually quiet it down at all.
Hmm. Yeah, it just pushes the sound.
Yes.
So
Well, it funnels it away from you.
yeah, not in a direct. Yeah, so I mean, it's supposed to reduce decibels, and if you get on their website and you can see the videos they have, and it's, I don't know, like 12 decibels or something, 15 decibels in the opposite direction. That, so it's still loud enough. I mean, I'd still wear ear protection shooting, but it does. I mean, I've shot without ear protection before using the whip machining, and that substantial ring you get if you shoot an AR without your phones on. I don't get that ring. I mean, it's still loud, but it's, so obviously, yes, there is a little reduction.
Well, I understand what you talk about with the ring, but remember that I have that military grade tinnitus that's
Yeah, I
just
mean,
there
so
all the time.
always there.
Yes, I'm not standing around with my hand in my ear going mop, trying to get it to pop.
I'm getting yelled at by your wife as we're podcasting.
I'm not doubting that at all, because she's not texting me, so
No, it's something I did. So,
oh, well, that's handy for you then. But no, so I digress. We talked about that, and that was one small little rabbit hole. So if you the main difference between a muzzle brake and a compensator, before we go down the rabbit hole of
yeah,
compensator, or
let's do
of
that.
linear compensators. So a compensator generally is made to compensate for the rise of the muzzle, to allow you to stay on target faster.
Hmm.
So how it works is it has, gas ports drilled in the top, like you'll see it on pistol slides. Some shotguns have it, and that'll have holes drilled into the top piece that will shove down.
Hmm.
This the theory behind it. Is it's when you're shooting, you have that rise, and it uses the gas energy coming out to propel the rifle back down to maintain it as, like a flat shooting,
Yep.
and mitigate. That's the word I was looking for, to mitigate barrel rise. And so it has, engineering and math and things that go into that, for port size, port direction, how all that works out to shove down depending upon what caliber you're using.
Hmm.
Now, along with that, you have muzzle brakes. Muzzle brakes do more than just piss your neighbors off at the range, although they can really do that,
Yeah.
especially at a like indoor range or a covered range. Again, the most aggressive muzzle brake I ever saw was pinned and welded to a 14.5-inch 300 Win Mag.
Mm.
But what a muzzle brake does is, a muzzle brake, so a compensator compensates for barrel rise, right?
Hmm.
And I know that we're going to get emails explaining how I am wrong on my like very layman's term of explaining the difference, which is okay. I understand this, but So a muzzle brake does not slow the bullet down or anything like that, but instead it has chambers. They might be a single chamber brake. It might be like a 3-chamber, which is generally what you'd think of. Um, if you want an example of this or need to Google something to think about what an example would be, look up like Barrett 50 cal brake, and you will see a giant 3-chamber muzzle brake on the end of a Barrett.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's 2 or 3-chamber, I guess, depending upon which version of it you get. And what that is made to do is, as that comes through and that gas comes out, that actually reduces recoil. And that will kind of push the rifle forward away from your shoulder with the gases, because it's using that kind of like it's changing the direction of the gases coming out so that it will reduce the recoil. So if you have it used to be really common more on the big booming hunting calibers. They would
Mm-hmm.
put the muzzle brake on because it would reduce recoil. And everybody would be like, oh, it makes it so much more accurate. Well, it's because it takes out that giant flinch.
Yeah.
And then it will also have the added benefit of clearing off the bench next to you at the range.
Yeah. Yes, it will.
So, like having those, and then you will see brakes and compensators kind of living together like cats and dogs, under one roof, where they'll have the big chambers, but they still have some ports on top to, try and mitigate some of that muzzle rise and, do more for the recoil. Although I have seen some studies and looked at things where they say that the ones that claim they do both don't really do good at either.
Mm-hmm.
So, Garth, furiously read something.
I am. I jumped on because I was, just curious about a few things through this, and yeah. So yeah. Sorry, I was.
Yeah, I could tell because I saw his eyes moving, but, and his mouth moving, but he wasn't talking.
Yeah, sorry. I do that sometimes.
But no, so what type of shooting you do the most will generally decide what type of brake is best for you. Now, one of my pet peeves when it comes to brakes that come sometimes from the factory, sometimes the aftermarket, I really hate what a guy who has been affectionately called in this show before, Machine Gun Mike, has talked about, and he calls them DNA samplers.
Mm-hmm.
And what those are is there's one company in particular, Black Rain Ordnance, that used to ship out their ARs, and they had these bitchin' cool looking muzzle brakes, right? That
Yeah.
like had all of these like cool angles and pointy things. Well, they were a flash hider,
Yeah.
and more so than a brake. But the only thing that muzzle brake was good for was tearing up the floorboard of a pickup.
Or your seat as you pulled it out.
Yep. Because it was like a saw blade that just like if you tried to like move it around without the little cover, like
Yeah.
the plastic covers that came on them,
Yep.
it would almost cut your hand. And he goes, all they are is a DNA sampler because you stab someone with it to make sure you got some of their DNA to go.
Yeah, but they did look cool. I will say that. I never got one on my Black Rain. I was kind of disappointed.
Oh, is that one the 9 or is that the?
No, I'm at my 223.
Oh, yep. They may have gone away from it because, well,
Like
looking cool is important.
Yes, yes, it is.
We don't do everything for the gram.
Well, that's when they were also what, like $2,400. That was during the Obama scare, though. So
Yeah, they are a super high quality rifle. I have nothing to complain about them, but it's just like they're one that used to I used to routinely do a, all right, well, we're going to put a new muzzle device on. You can take that with you when you leave because I don't want it rolling around on my bench.
Yeah.
And, you know, that was how those things would come around. And that's where form and function and like looking cool. Sometimes there are a lot of things that definitely get into form over function.
Yeah.
And I am not one of those. Another one, let me see if I can pull up an image of it while while we're talking here. But one of the first like real linear compensators was well, I shouldn't say like linear compensators. It was the first comp, and I think they called it a linear compensator,
Okay.
but they called it or well, I guess this is a compensator, but I used to always be referred to as the muzzle brake, and it is the cookie cutter. And I believe that came from Strike Industries,
Uh-huh.
which we have no affiliation with, but they were definitely a interesting looking muzzle device. I'll share the screen here, and Garth, I want you to paint a picture with your words
Okay. I'll try to see what I can do here.
as I pull this up so you can explain what it is that a cookie cutter break looks like.
Oh gosh. Wow. I've seen one of those before. I've never actually seen one on a gun before, like other than just pictures online. Oh my gosh. I don't even know how to describe that, man. It looks like
So
someone
what?
smashed the muzzle brake with a hammer.
So what kind of the whole concept behind this? As I scroll through, if anyone watching live or people who come back and watch the video later, you'll be able to see a bunch of pictures that I pulled up from the firearms blog here, where they're shooting it on what appears or from the size of it without reading everything.
Looks
It's
like a
a
7-inch barrel.
well, it's probably more of an 8 inch, but and this is for a on a 300 blackout, but they are a single chamber break, but it's push down and out. So it's actually got like the ring around the outside. Oh, oh, here we go. We'll do this where I'll pull up some more pictures of it or try to. The ring around or the outer diameter of the there's the picture I was looking for. Is about the same size as a hand guard.
Yeah.
So when you look at this, if you wanted to think back, if you've played the Call of Duties or like watch the movies where you see the suppressor that's hidden right underneath the end of the barrel,
Mm-hmm.
this is kind of made to have that same look where the handguard runs all the way out, and then you have this fat pancake, well actually cookie, like that's
Yeah.
it's shaped like a cookie on the end of your barrel, and it has a big port that pushes everything forward and then a large chamber that lets everything else go out the back. And the whole concept behind that was to be a shorter length, you know, break that would hold everything together, push the recoil out, and then maintain where the position was for you to shoot faster. And there are, several other ones. I know that there's been a couple different ones. Spikes made one back in the day. Strike Industry made theirs. Like there's a lot of different versions of those out there.
Man, I don't know if I could shoot with one of those things on or not. It's hideous. I get what you're saying, especially if you had like the Aero Precision enhanced handguard on, because then you could actually hide it in there. But
Well, you wouldn't want to
nowadays,
hide it in there.
well, not in there, but just right on the edge. Yeah.
Yep.
But I mean, everyone's going to these thin handguards now, and so you can't really get in the barrel like that. But I see what you're saying about hiding. I mean, I even did that with my one of my first builds I had you do for me. where I hit the suppressor in the handguard. So, and
Yep.
made it like a 15-inch total. Still was under a rifle, so had to use a pistol. But yeah, it looked neat. It's a cool concept, but very unpractical.
Yes, and gets really hot on your hand.
Super hot, super warm.
So that was one where you have that. Now, I know we said we weren't going to make this into a silencer show,
Yeah.
but I can't really talk about muzzle devices without talking about silencer host systems.
Well, I know that you and I, most of our long guns we run are suppressed, minus our competition ARs.
Yeah, and my competition AR does have a
Quick attach?
does what?
Does it have
No.
a quick attach? No?
No, it doesn't. Well, no, it doesn't at the moment.
Okay.
I had to think. No, it's running a break comp combo,
Mhm.
and that's what's on my competition AR because its whole thing in life is to shoot fast,
Yeah.
and that's what it does.
I think after now we're discussing this, I think all my competition guns are running the wrong brakes, to be honest. Because I've got compensators on there that I don't really need to worry about because I'm running headphones because it's a stipulation. So why I have compensators on there, like, the loudenser compensators on there is kind of.
Yep, you have the linear comps that are made to throw sound more so than energy.
Yeah, so I might have to rethink how I am shooting. Dang. All right.
Well, don't worry. I mean, I know a guy who can work on those over the winter, and we can put some brakes on it, and
yeah, we can change things.
Yep, we can do some of that work later.
It only takes money to do this stuff.
Strange enough, it is. All it takes is money.
Yeah.
And the good thing is muzzle devices are generally fairly cheap.
For the most part, correct. Yes.
Yep. Now, we'll talk actually debating if we should talk about timing them or not now when you hear that. So that is like the only hard part about muzzle devices is timing them.
Okay. This is a new concept to me.
Okay, timing. There are generally there's two ways to do this, right? So timing, the reason why it's called timing is the top dead center is 12 o'clock.
Okay.
So you don't want your ports pointing at 10:30. You want everything to be moving where it's supposed to be.
Okay.
So depending upon how your threads start, like where at on your barrel your threads start, it doesn't always just screw direct on and everything line up correctly. Like on an A2, typically you have a crush washer.
Yeah.
Which you just and run tight enough till it gets in the right spot. You will see some devices that say use a crush washer.
Mm-hmm.
You will see far more that say do not use a crush washer. And for that, you have shims. And the shims are little pieces of metal that you put down between the barrel and the muzzle device, and then you'll tighten it up and check to see where it's at and go, nope, okay. And then take it off and add or subtract until you get the right amount of spacing so that it will end up in the correct position. That's timing your muzzle device.
Okay. All right. Now, I knew what you were talking about, had no idea about the correct terminology. That's why you're here, and that's why I can explain things until you pick up what I'm saying, and then you can tell me the proper way.
Yep. No, that's what timing is. And there are some devices where it's not as important, like on some of the linear compensators, like the ones that you call the loudensers that are just more or less a funnel pointing away from you.
Yeah.
Not really important where those end up sitting.
Well, not really. I mean, as I hold up my black rain here with one of them on there.
Yeah. I mean, it's ostensibly a blast can.
Yep, that's all it is.
And it, catches everything and throws it forward.
Yep.
So having that versus having a device that's like a Lantac Dragon or the G6 Precision, where they have to go in a certain direction, or like even a Q Cherry Bomb.
Mhm.
But those are just some of the bigger names, and that you'll see people like, oh, I really want to have one of these because it's what the cool guys run.
Yeah.
And I use that term loosely because I don't run any of those. I
Well,
guess I guess I do run like a V6 Precision Epsilon on my EPC, or will be, but right now we're not. Because I believe it just has a version of an A2 birdcage on it.
mhm.
Also, if you've listened this far and haven't figured out yet, muzzle devices are caliber specific.
Oh yes, and thread specific too.
Yes. So make sure that you buy the. So that's one of the big things with going between 9 and 223.
Yep.
They are threaded the same, but the holes are very much so different holes.
That, and then I had no idea that there was a 1 in 28 twist for 9 mil, and then a 1 in 36 twist.
Yeah.
Learned that the other 2 months ago. That was fantastic. After I bought like $70 worth of freaking muzzle brakes.
Yep. That is a thing.
It is.
And so knowing what your rifle's twist rate are, or not twist rate, but the threading is
Yes.
on your muzzle device and your barrel is important for when you're looking at this. But almost all of, I shouldn't say almost all, I have, oh, I have brakes on a lot. I have, other things, but I do have more. It's even if you look at some of the other muzzle devices that have come out, like a 4-prong flash hider versus like an A2,
Mhm.
one of the big trends in the industry now is you are finding more and more suppressor host muzzle devices,
Oh yeah, absolutely are.
or things that are made to be a suppressor host. And with that said, there are becoming a handful of kind of standardized options for that.
Mhm.
There are 3 main ones off the top of my head. There is a taper fit, which would be like the Area 419, where it has the threading and then it tapers in so it hits the same position every time,
Mhm.
and it's kind of a taper lock. There is I forget what size it is, like I want to say 11/16 or an inch and 16th by something thread that is what most of the silencers use inside. So like I know that Yankee Hill uses it, and I want to say there's 3 or 4 other ones that also do, but which ones I can't recall off the top of my head without furiously googling it. And then there is the chemo. And I know you have at least one chemo muzzle device there because it's one that our friends at Primary Arms sent us a while ago.
Yep, I actually have that on gun upstairs.
Because the chemo is also a silencer mounting system, and you're seeing more and more of them. I know that we have one of those. Our friends at Occam Defense also sent us one that is set up for chemo. I'm getting to the point where I have enough chemo brakes that I probably should get a dead air silencer that uses the chemo system.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. You buy the muzzle brake first because you like it, and then now you got to get the suppressor to match.
Which I am really glad that the industry is starting to standardize
Yeah.
on a style, because like Bowers Group silencers or suppressors, the Bowers Group people, they have versions of it that will work like cross compatible,
Mhm.
so you can use those chemo brakes. Or and the chemo system kind of originally came out to fix the ASR, I think was what they called it from Silencer Co. And I heard it explained to me once as that mounting system is cancer, and this is what's here to fix it. And that's why it was called the chemo.
Fair enough. Okay, cool.
Yep. So having those things where you push out with that is a solid option. And like I said, I just honestly get happy that you're starting to see more and more of the same come out, just because I don't have to continuously buy different muzzle devices for my cans that I have. Because like the very first can I bought was an Appalachian 2A. Thanks for stopping in and commenting over there on YouTube. But the very first can I bought was a Gemtech, and I
Yep.
went, all right, I've got this sweet Gemtech. I'm going to do the quick disconnect, QD, and then I'll just put muzzle devices on all my guns. And I'll also have one can. I can run it on everything.
Yeah.
And I didn't even have the stamp back yet, and I had another can bought. And then
I
I
know
had
how it goes.
then I had another one, and then I went, oh, everybody says direct thread's really cool, so I got one of those. And then now, yeah, we're just not going to talk about that because I have several different ones. I've definitely come back to. I am a big fan of Gemtech. My original Gemtech can. It's a solid can.
Mhm.
And then after that, I love my Yankee Hills.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I have 2 Yankee Hills on order right now, and I cannot wait to get them. Hopefully by October I will have them in my possession. I do have a Gemtech titanium steel or titanium can, and I absolutely love the heck out of that can. It's my go-to one.
Yep, and one of the hardest things about having those like stuff with the QD
Yep.
is getting a grip on it. But you know what's not hard to get a grip on?
What's
VZ
that?
grips. VZ grips, and the unique features of the VZ grips that are AR grips are they're machined from a solid block of G10, which is great because it's durable and doesn't get slippery when it's covered in mud, blood, or sweat. The 17-degree grip angle and wide variety of textures from mild to extreme, and color options are available. 1911 grips, Beretta grips, extreme customizability, standard slim palm walls or palm swells, thumb notches, safety cuts, bottom profiles, and etc. More than 25 textures and 27 colors are available. That is an almost endless amount of differences that you can have to anything you have that requires grips. Now, the coupon code is good for 15% off all handgun and rifle grips, and that coupon code is AR-15 podcast.
Nicely done.
Yes, I was waiting all show to do that. But when we push through and get into that again, having a muzzle device is very much so set up for how you shoot. Like I know guys who have shot for years with no muzzle devices at all. Like straight up bought a band rifle
Mhm.
and still does not have it threaded. Like just a straight up target crown.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing I was going to say, though. I mean, the majority of muzzle devices you see are on the AR platform. Now, in today's market, most of all the hunting rifles are becoming threaded because everyone wants to put a suppressor on there, but you don't see a lot of guys putting on, compensators and muzzle brakes and flash hiders on those
In
rifles.
the long range shooting community, you do.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Long range shooters, you'll see a lot of muzzle brakes more so than anything else. But again, that's for doing the recoil because they're doing a lot of shooting on some larger calibers.
Hmm.
Because even if you're just shooting like a 308 or a 6.5 Creedmoor all day, you want something to help with that recoil. Because since you're using 1800s technology, you are having all of that impact come back to you because it doesn't flow through a gas system. since God and Eugene Stoner got together and came up with this ingenious system to mitigate recoil and go through that. So, but you are seeing more and more, like you said, things come up threaded, not just for silencers, but you're seeing a lot of muzzle devices come on for that muzzle brake and that recoil mitigation side.
Well, I was just looking on Primary Arms. I mean, there's 12 pages, and I bet there's probably 50 muzzle brake makes a page. I mean, it's insane the variety you have to choose from out there.
Yep, and it really does come down to you can do things that look cool to
Yes.
complete a build. Like if you have something that you're really going for on a look, you can do that. And if anybody out there tells you, "Hey, you can't do that because you just put that on because you think it looks cool," you don't need that kind of negativity in your life, and you just go ahead and buy whatever it is that you want because you think it looks cool, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. If you just want to run an A2 flash hider because, well, it's good enough for the Army, it's good enough for me, that's fine too. But when you run through, I think I have a different muzzle device on every single rifle.
Really?
I'm not sure that I have the same. Actually, I'm positive I don't. No, I've nope. I 100% have different ones on as I'm going through in my head. Because I have an A2 birdcage on my carry handle build. I have, or well, not my carry handle build, on my carry handle rifle. It has an A2 birdcage. I've got Gemtech flash hiders. I've got Gemtech muzzle brakes. I've got other like random different company muzzle brakes that
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten over the years. I've got different variations of mounts. I even have a custom, like a handful of somewhat rare, not valuable, but rare,
Rare.
but rare uh, muzzle devices that are for Rebel silencers. They are a QD for Rebel silencers,
Yeah.
and that is not. There's not a lot of them out there because I know the guy who commissioned them built, and I ordered 6 of them. And of that, I think I've sold 3, and the other 3 are still sitting in my safe
Nice.
or a safe.
One of the safes.
Yeah, one of them.
One of them. Yeah, actually, I can't say much because every long gun I have is suppressed except for 3 of them. No, yeah, 3 of them. And I don't run the right stuff. I went for the cool look over the practical, and I'm rethinking life choices now. So.
Yep, and mine. I'm not going to say are practical. I'm saying they have a purpose.
Oh yeah, I mean they definitely have a purpose, I suppose. I mean that the one on my Black Rain here. Obviously, I don't have a can on it, so I want noise to go the opposite way. But I mean that's not the purpose of that gun. I need to rethink that for the range and for shooting competitions.
Yep, which is one of those things that I have long said of the function over form.
Yes. So.
And I have several guns that don't look pretty, but they work.
Yep. Yeah, I've seen some of them, and I've been disgusted with how hideous they are.
Well, that's because mine get scratched up. Because I remember the first time you watched me run a match, and you
Yes.
were just like, "What just happened?"
To be fair, though, I have adopted your magazine policy. Actually, Craig and I were teaching a class a couple weeks ago on a Sunday afternoon to some guys, and I dropped a mag and I threw it across the range, and they went, "Why'd you do that?" I said, "I'm done with it. I don't need it. Get it out of my space." I grabbed the next one. He goes, "Well, I don't believe in that." I said, "Well, then you and Dooley should have a talk."
Yes, this is time to get away from here. I will get rid of this mag and whatever's. There is a time for a tactical reload. There is a
Yes.
time for a not.
Well, we were running drills, and it was time.
Yep. No, very much so. There's different things for it. Speaking of time, I know this is going to go off topic. Earlier this week, I sent you a link to something that is absolutely hideous, and I hate them, but I still want one.
Which link was this?
It would be called the Ready Mag.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that is hideous.
So if anyone doesn't know what I'm talking about, this is something that was really hot, like, I'm going to say 15 years ago.
Really? Okay.
And like the first time I saw one was back in the days of like the Magpul Art of the Dynamic videos, like Art of the
Uh-huh.
Tactical Carbine, or Art of the Dynamic Carbine. And they, like Travis Haley and Chris Costa, they had them and they'd pull up and it would be boom, and they dropped the mag and they'd have the other one there and they just like rock it right in. And it was this mag holder that attached to the side of your mag well. So you just always had another mag right there. So you could be like, bam, drop one and then just rock the other one just right up into it.
I
Which,
mean,
oh,
yeah,
sounds really, really good in concept, right?
it's
Like,
super, 100%.
and then I realized you could buy an $11 mag coupler and do the same thing,
Yeah.
or just get good at reloads.
I mean, yes, it's cool to do it from here to here, but I mean, it takes you a second to reach down and grab your spare mag off your belt and slam it home.
Yep,
So
it's
I don't know.
there's things, there's reasons, I'm sure there's a use case for it. I They are an oddity that was something that was like really, really hot for a minute. And I have like the perfect rifle for that though.
Well, like you said earlier, man, if it floats your boat and you got the money to spend on it, by all means, put it on your AR.
Yep, and it'll go on a goofy carry handle build with a 4-power optic that's on top.
Is that the Brownell scope I sold you?
Yep, it is the
Nice.
the the Brownell's reproduction of the carry handle optic, because carry handles are cool.
They had a purpose, man. Very much so.
I mean, you really can't beat an A2 sight.
No, I mean, hey, when all the other sites fail, if you still got iron sights you can shoot through.
Yep. Which is why I will probably be finishing up my M16A4 clone, because I found a carry handle in my basement.
I get that. Oh, look, spare part. I should build a rifle.
I have to be careful saying that in my basement, though.
Dude, you can build. I mean, you have probably 150 different parts. So I guess that's 150 rifles. So
Well, Garth, do you got anything else to add for the week before we get done here? Because I think it's not that we've beaten muzzle devices to death, because we can sure come back and talk more about them later and probably get more into a science and technical aspect instead of this very much so high view down
oh yeah,
overview.
no, for sure. No, there's always more to talk about with them and stuff, but I think we glossed over the general idea of each concept. So
And the best muzzle device,
suppressor.
100%.
That's yeah. I like quiet things in my old age.
Well, shooting anything else would be uncivilized.
Yeah. So now I just got to get the pistol side handled that way. I don't know. Maybe.
Yep. Anywhere else they should check out here before we?
Yeah, they can find us on, well, first of all, AR-15 podcast 2.0 at gmail.com. We're on Facebook, AR-15 podcast, AR-15 podcast 2.0 on Instagram, and on YouTube, AR-15 podcast, I believe, or is it 2.0?
2.0 on YouTube as well.
Okay. So, yeah, and then, of course, the Radio Firearms Network,
Firearms Radio.
Yes, there we go, firearmsradio.net. We're getting there. Tyler does this, not me.
Yep, it's weird when we have one guy gone, things start to, well, I'm not going to say fall apart, because
no, but just a little bit more disorganized chaos.
Yep, and those things happen. Again, guys, make sure you're writing in any questions or things that you would like to have sent in to us. Again, those can be found or emailed to us, AR-15podcast 2.0 at Gmail, and we will go through and read all those later. Again, questions about like use cases, parts cases, tasteful nudes, why we do things the way we do, and our opinion on things. So
Absolutely. So yeah, I think with that, man, I'm just gonna say, tell me it again.
well, I am going to talk about one more thing because we need to talk about Patriot Patch Company, patriotpatch.co, and all the great things that Jake and the crew do over there, from mouse pads to from cleaning mats
Yes.
and tin signs and stickers and patches and all the like.
Yes. Patriot Patch. Patriotpatch.co.
All right. Well, with that, I have nothing else to add. And you folks out there, you stay safe and stay armed.